The Generation 1 Formula E car was the first ever electric race car produced in a mass scale. And there was always a question mark of how much power was the minimum that could create good racing, how you fit the battery in the car, and so on. And I think the key point was to do it with two cars. So the cars didn't need cutting-edge technology, but at the same time would be reliable. It create a different environment. We'll have a very good power-to-weight ratio, and that's what we have. I think the Alejandro approach, together with the technical guys, together with FIA, to build the Generation 1, slightly conservative in terms of design, but very innovative in terms of using electric power, fit perfectly the requirements that Formula E needed for these first 4 years.
I was quite impressed with the car the first time I drove it, because I did not know what to expect, and very quickly on we used maximum power, and somehow I felt that the compromise between the amount of downforce, the grip and the power was quite good, so that's why we had pretty interesting races in the city.
I've driven a bit of everything in my life. I just came from rallycross and NASCAR, two of the most powerful race cars in the world. So for me, it's about the competition. I like racing. For me, it doesn't matter if we're racing a go-kart, a truck, or whatever it is. I like the competition. I like to be side by side. I like to be, fighting for wins. That's the most important thing for me.
This car, I tell everybody asks me, but the car is not the best car to drive. How can it be that you enjoy it so much? I enjoy this car because the car is purely manual. The car is not the most advanced in technology. The car is not the quickest I ever driven. I drove Formula 1 cars, I drove LMP1 cars with 1200 horsepower, four-wheel drive, 360 kph Le Mans speeds. And I drove every car, GTEs, Formula 3, Formula 2, everything. And Formula E is the most difficult one. It's unpredictable. The tracks are very, very narrow, very difficult to drive. The car, you have to shift the brake balance pretty much every lap. And it's not controlled by any computer like LMP1 cars or F1. You have to do it manually. So this difficulty of driving the car is what creates the difficulty for the drivers. So sometimes you are in a good feeling with your car, you can beat the other guy that has a better car than you have. And that happened to me, that happened against me. That's why it's so competitive, that's why it's so random who's going to win the race. And that's why the Formula E it's beautiful and it's hard.
If you look at the shape of the car, it did not change since season 1. But when you look at the lap times we do and how long we go now, we're going to have the longest race ever here on Saturday in New York, over 100 kilometers. And you see at what speed we managed to do that. Just the development has been massive. Even so, when you look at the shape of the car, it did not change.
I think season 1, it depended only on the drivers because all the cars were the same basically. So it was just 100% driver based. Now that every team has their own powertrain, it changed a little bit the percentage or the ratio car-driver. So in the first year, I think our big advantage was strategy. I was good at saving energy. Nobody else knew how to do it very well. And we learned it much quicker than everybody else. I think that was the difference in the point. I could do a lap longer than everybody else. I could consume much less energy doing the same lap time. So that, for me, it was a natural thing to save more energy than the others. I think that was the main point that made us win that season.
It will remain something special for me because I won the championship. I've been fighting for the championship from season 1, 2 and 3, and season 4 I'm running P4 right now in the championship, but it will remain something special, definitely.
Box and snap, confirm?
Yes, confirm. Box.
I think the car change was a great idea from the series to combine a lack of technology we had at the time this car was developed to make the car last the whole race with the cost that we predicted. And at the same time, it created some identity to Formula E. So definitely we're going to miss it, but the message is clear. Electric cars are evolving, batteries evolving. You don't need so much charging time. You don't need to change cars anymore. And one car fits the job. So now it's our time to evolve. Of course, we will miss this car change, especially the drivers, but life is about evolving and that's the right time to evolve right now.
I think I'm going to miss the pit stop in a way. because somehow it was part of the DNA of Formula E, having to swap cars in the middle of the race. I think it's really important to show that we don't have to do that anymore because the battery technology has improved so much. However, I might miss it a little bit because I think that most of the time it spiced up the race and it was quite good for the show. But let's see what the new regulation brings, you know, with the extra power in the race. It might be even better than having a pit stop.
So Gen 1, it was a breakthrough. It was a really breakthrough in terms of, okay, motorsport, it's going electric. There is no noise. Will the fans like it? Will the drivers be able to drive it? How is regenerative braking going to help in the race? How is the strategy? Nobody knew anything about the electric race. So that was, the idea was the breakthrough. The overall philosophy and architecture of the car, not really. They took a combustion race car, took out the fuel tank, put a battery, took out the combustion engine, put an electric motor. So the overall architecture and philosophy of the car is not revolutionary at all. Not even for Generation 2 car. There could be much further steps to be made in terms of technology, in terms of concept, but the Generation 1 idea and application of that idea was really something that we're gonna look in 20 years' time as the defining moment that motorsport switched from fossil fuels to electric, and nobody will ever forget that.
For weekly Formula E videos, click subscribe on the left-hand side. To watch the next one, click the icon in the centre, and remember to hit the like button and leave your comments down below.